Okay, this video is called Book Burning is Back, and it's with regard to the AI companies are taking a lot of old precious books that are difficult to replace. These are not widely available things, and they take off the spines and they Xerox copy them into AI, and then they destroy the book. And the relevance is that they're controlling information, and this has been around for a long time. It's actually difficult to get correct information. Pretty much all the conventional public school textbooks, conventional public university books, they're wrong. Okay, they're deliberately wrong. And I noticed something interesting. Like Andrew Carnegie, when he funded, I'm going to give you links to all this stuff so you can see more videos on this if you want to learn about it. But Andrew Carnegie, everybody talks about what a great social benefactor he was when he funded all these libraries, but he would simultaneously come in and make his new library, and he would take away all the old books and replace them with the modern versions that he wanted people to read. So the old history books used to talk about how great the founding fathers were, how great America is, how great Christianity is, how great freedom is, how great the Constitution is, and then they would replace it with new books. Oh, the founding fathers are evil, racist, slave owners, pieces of crap, colonialism, all this other stuff. They wanted people to sort of hate the history of their own country. That way they won't try to maintain it. Let's see, what else? All countries were initially colonized or conquered by somebody and then maintained by whatever group was able to control the territory, okay? Otherwise, the country gets conquered itself. You know, for example, my father's from Ireland. Ireland was conquered by England. Okay, I got friends from Scotland. Scotland was conquered by England. My mother's from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was conquered by the USA. It's just a fact. TV has always been pretty much heavily censored. Much worse nowadays than it used to be. At least when I was young, it was still masculine. There were all these macho heroes on. The internet is controlled a lot. You do have more variety on the internet, but the main control I've seen on the internet is what I would call the good, true information is shadow banned. So it's there, but it's hard to find. And then the bogus fake information is flooded, meaning that there's corporate sponsors behind it, so it's everywhere. And so it just seems like that's what everybody knows. Okay, and the other thing I've seen is that most average people, they don't really think much, they don't read much. They just go by who is the perceived authority, who is the perceived expert. You know, they'll go by the so-called expert doctor and not be interested at all in nutrition, lifestyle, and all this other stuff because that's not coming from the official expert. Conventional medical books don't even allow anything to be correct on nutrition. They'll recommend the Mediterranean diet, which is a joke. It's like 40% of calories from fat. You know, Kempner was feeding people 3% of calories from fat. Okay. I wanted to show you, there's a little picture behind me. I got a book here called Fahrenheit 451. This is written by Rad Bradbury. It's a good book. What he was talking about was they would intentionally burn the good books, and it was very cleverly written. He's an American writer. He's good. Okay, now here's a really good historian you should know about. This is David Barton, and he tells the truth about the founding of the USA. It was intensely Christian. They would have mass in the same rooms where they would legislate. And that's been sort of pushed aside to trick the public into thinking that America was not a religious country and so on. It was intensely Christian, okay? It's sort of the opposite of the French Rev in 1789 to 1794, which was intensely atheist, okay? It was the destruction of France, Catholic France. So anyways, that's his DVD course. Here's some other books by David Barton, The 4 Centuries of American Education, where he tells you the truth about how USA used to be and what was emphasized by the Founding Fathers. Here's The Jefferson Lies by David Barton. You know, the guy by modern standards was a religious fanatic, and then nowadays they try to portray him as if he wasn't even religious. Okay, here's a couple of books good to know about by John Taylor Gatto, Underground History of American Education and Dumbing Us Down. He won a bunch of awards as the best teacher in like New York. He's a brilliant guy, and his books are excellent. He's got YouTube videos as well, John Taylor Gatto. And he talks about how school was made to make people stupid. Ayn Rand wrote a good essay on this as well, that, you know, kids spend all this time around other kids their own age and nobody knows anything, so they just become focused on social and not on learning. And he would also talk about how real learning is driven by a personal interest in something, not by listening to some phony teacher bogus expert who bores the crap out of you, okay? I've given videos previously about all his books and lectures. This lady, Charlotte Iserbit, she also was involved in the educational unions and public school design system. And she said it's literally designed to make everybody stupid. You know, Gatto talks about it initially being based on the Prussian system after they lost to Napoleon at Jena in 1806, and they wanted their guys to be more obedient and predictable and conformist. And then she goes beyond that. Now they've taken that Prussian system, which was a disaster and a joke, and they've added to it ideas they learned from, you know, B.F. Skinner, behavioral conditioning, and also these ideas of so-called mastery learning. All of this stuff removes the person's intrinsic drive to learn, so they don't learn as much, okay? So anyways, I'll put some links to this stuff, especially the thing about Carnegie, especially the stuff about the AI machines destroying the old books, so you can get a sense of what's going on. And what would I recommend from this? Buy up all the old books you can and hang on to them, because they're going to become collector's items in the near future. And you want to be able to have yourself informed about the truth of things. In order to make wise decisions, we need correct information. This is one way of controlling people, is depriving them of access to correct information about health, correct information about their best options. So anyways, that's it for this video. I'll have the links in the description below. Hope you find it helpful.